Russian officials announced yet another ceasefire in Ukraine scheduled for Wednesday morning. But Ukraine is accusing Russia of violating Tuesday's ceasefire as shelling occurred along a civilian evacuation route from Mariupol. The humanitarian corridors were established for people to safely leave several cities across the country, including the capital of Kyiv. Now, President Biden has announced a ban on Russian oil and gas imports, but he says Russia needs to be punished for its actions, even if that means higher prices at the pump. And the price of gas hit a record high of $4.17 per gallon in the U.S. on Tuesday. 1 year ago, the average cost was $2.74. CBS News foreign correspondent Ian Lee joins me now for more. Ian, we'll get to that price of gas in just a second, but I want to first ask you about this ceasefire Russia announced. It's set to begin Wednesday at 10 a.m. Moscow time to allow Ukrainians to safely evacuate. But as we've already seen, Russia doesn't always seem to be respecting these ceasefires and guaranteeing safety in these areas. So what is the latest on that, and where have these evacuees been going?
Well, tomorrow, Ben, they'll try it all over again. Russia announced yet another ceasefire so civilians can be evacuated to the rest of Ukraine and then onwards to neighboring countries. But Ukrainian officials are skeptical because they've seen time and time again where they've been violated, recently saying it's difficult to trust the occupier. But any halt in the violence is badly needed in cities like Kharkiv, Mariupol, and Sumy, where civilians have been trapped and killed by the heavy fighting. But just as important, there is a shortage of medical supplies in those cities. So Ukrainian officials hope that while people get out, they can get medicine and bandages in. This is where the negotiations come in. Both sides have continued rounds of talks. Of course, humanitarian corridors are a top priority. This upcoming Thursday, the two sides will have their highest level meeting so far when both countries' foreign ministers meet in Turkey.
I want to ask you about something that top U.S. intelligence officials are saying. They're saying that Russian President Vladimir Putin is likely, quote, undeterred by the West's coordinated sanctions against him. They're also saying he's going to try to escalate Russia's aggression against Ukraine in the coming weeks. So what else can the U.S. and its allies do to punish Putin or try to prevent this war from escalating any further?
Ben, Putin has expressed his desire to, quote, go all the way. I've read his manifesto where he clearly states, in his view, that Ukraine isn't a real country and it belongs to Russia. So it's unlikely that there's anything the West can do to stop his ambitions. The director of national intelligence told Congress this is a war that Putin feels he cannot afford to lose. But the West can sure make him pay for every inch. Right now, NATO officials are trying to figure out how to get Poland's MiG-29 fighter jets to Ukraine. This is one of the key demands by President Zelensky to help him stop what he describes as Russia's indiscriminate bombing of civilians. Ukrainian troops are also putting up a stiff resistance. We've seen videos of how they've been able to take out Russian armor, supplies, planes, and helicopters. And today, Ukrainian officials put Russian casualties above 10,000, while the Pentagon says it's somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000. But probably the most crucial thing the West can do is just make sure that the average Ukrainian soldier has what they need to fight as this war drags on.
And you know, we mentioned earlier that President Biden banned oil and gas imports from Russia. Tell us what exactly that does. What does that mean? And how is this move being seen in Europe?
Yeah, the president has banned all energy imports, so not only gas and oil, but coal too. And this makes up about 8% of the energy consumed by the United States. But it's a blow against Moscow's main source of income. Russia's energy sector makes up a majority of the country's economy. The president said many Americans will see prices go up, adding, though, that defending democracy comes at a cost, but Washington is trying to ease the pain. Diplomats went to Venezuela to discuss getting that country's oil on the international market. The White House is looking for help from Gulf countries, and there's also Iran. Talks have progressed regarding the country's nuclear program, and their oil could be another source of energy. But on the other side, European nations have been more hesitant when it comes to banning Russian oil and gas, mainly because the continent gets about 40% of their gas from Russia. The White House says it doesn't expect, nor does it think that European allies are going to follow its example. Despite that, though, there is a shift in European capitals to move away from relying on Moscow. It just, Ben, isn't going to be quick.
We're also seeing several large corporations moving away from them as well. They've stopped operating in Russia. This includes McDonald's, Starbucks, Apple. Is this kind of thing symbolic, or will this actually have a real impact on the country?
Yeah, this, I think, will have a real impact on the country. Let's take McDonald's, for example. It has 850 restaurants in Russia employing 62,000 people. That's just one company. Now add on top of that the dozens of other companies that are pulling their businesses, and you can see how this could create a headache for the Kremlin. But there are other areas where this will have an impact. As I mentioned earlier, oil and gas are big business for Russia. We've seen large companies like BP, Exxon, and Shell pull their investments. Boeing and Airbus will stop supplying parts to Russian airlines, so that will potentially have an impact on flights. Then you have just the pleasures of everyday life, like Disney and Netflix, who are suspending their services. Nike and Adidas are closing their stores. Apple, Dell, and even Spotify are suspending operations. And on top of all that, you have Visa, MasterCard, and American Express freezing their services. So the big question will be now, how will the average Russian respond to all this? And for that, we're going to have to wait and see.
Could be some real impacts on everyday life there. All right, Ian Lee, thanks so much.